you for staying with Daybreak. We'd like to know what you think about the conversation regarding graft. Our guests are still with us. It's a part of the newspaper review before we cross over to Toy Market, where Waiga More is standing by with the latest down bulls and bears on the challenges facing the small-scale traders. But for now, we're still talking about graft. 2242222. You can send in your text. You can tweet at Trevor Mbija, at ZinziK as well. The hashtag is Daybreak. We see a lot of feedback coming through on our social media. And first of all, Joseph Odanga says that MP Baraza is going round and round in circles instead of answering straight questions. The work of an MP is oversight. Does he know what the word oversight really is?
Of course, we oversight. And when we are oversighting, we oversight based on facts and documents. When you oversight government, we have a PIC, we have a committee of PIC, Parliamentary Investment Committee, we have a Public Accounts Committee, and also we oversight based on the basis of a report from Auditor General. Yeah. Once the State Department has been audited and their audit queries, that's when we raise questions. You don't oversight by becoming a rumomonga on things which they don't exist. We oversight within the precincts of law.
I think the very essence of the word oversight, which would essentially work together with audit, means that he should be on the side of the DCI. Parliament should be on the side of the DCI asking questions as opposed to parliamentarians speaking for the executive that was given money to spend. It's the executive that should be explaining itself, that should be coming out, guns blazing, and trying to justify or explain what happened. Parliament should be on the other side. And it's not just on the basis of the Auditor General, whom Parliament has actually beaten up so thoroughly before, and they still do. He doesn't have enough resources, he doesn't have enough staff, he has not really been resourced to work that well. So, honestly, Mheshimiwa here should be together with Kinoti, he should be working with EACC, he should be together with Haji, asking the hard questions, because that is your function, not to get into the business of explaining how the executive use their money. Yeah. How they spend.
That's why I have not, and I want to repeat this in a very simple language. I have not said that DCI or EACC is not doing their work. I have said, let all political leaders, all political camps, wait until EACC, DPP, and the DCI concludes the investigations, and it makes it clear in terms of how much money is lost and who are responsible. Okay. And we should avoid ourselves into behaving as if we are the spokespersons of the DPP, briefing the nation on how much money is lost, based on what document?
That includes you as a country, and now you're coming
this
back
is the person who is responsible. I mean, we are not. We should not
I
do
would
those
like
kind
to
of
ask
things.
him.
So you're calling for a ceasefire, including from your side?
Absolutely.
Including from your side.
Absolutely.
Well, before you even call for a ceasefire, look at what Nandi Governor Stephen Sang said it's in regards to the DCI, calling him an errand boy.
You know, I don't know the context under which.
Okay, do you feel as if the DCI is still independent? Let me put it that way.
He should be independent, but from.
Is he?
Is he? Your view?
Of course, you see, from where I sit, the so-called independent institutions are usually interfered.
That's an answer that is sufficient.
Yes or no?
I'm simply confirming that in this country, all the so-called independent institutions are interfered to.
Including the DCI.
So you don't think
he's not immune for interference?
Then how are you defending him? Because as Parliament, that is bit of your role.
Absolutely. That's why we have always advocated, we have always allocated money to DCI. By the way, I sit on the Security Committee, and I have always advocated for the DCI to be given his own budget, as opposed to, and even including the various police stations. You know, as it happens now that the money for police is kept somewhere in the Ministry of Interior. That the PS is the one who releases the money. So we have always said that the OCPDs should be AIU holders.
You see,
and that policy had been actually had been approved. So the independence of police and the investigators must begin with the ability to control their own budget, so that they know how to spend this money when they are doing an investigation, not to go to beg for money from somewhere else.
You see, without the benefit of the Hansard here, we might never know what he has just alleged here is true or false. But I also need to remind Mheshimiwa, and Mheshimiwa is a very brilliant guy. He knows that you do not go advocating for so-and-so to become an AIE holder. He knows that process. They are the lawmakers. What bill, what regulations, what motion have you put forth to that effect?
Which motion? We have enough laws that...
so when you're advocating that, how is it then effected or acted
you
on?
don't, let me tell you, my friend, let me teach you some bit of law and the legislative processes in this country. You don't need to pass a bill to make someone an AIE holder. It's a policy.
That is why I said...
You just need a policy.
What motions? Because where do policies come from?
You don't... Let me tell you. You don't need a motion.
I am a policy practitioner and I know what I'm asking.
To develop a policy.
I just asked if you are restructuring government, what motion have you put out there? What bill, for example? I said about regulations. Regulations are policies.
No.
Where are you quoted? Where are you quoted saying that OCSs should be AIE holders?
Let me say what we want to say and give me time to say what I want to say.
Well,
you do not need a bill. Yeah. You do not need a motion to develop some policies. A policy is like a way of doing things, which can be done by the section commander. The police is mandated by law, by the National Police Service Act, to develop procedures and guidelines on to streamline the National Police Service. Okay. So you don't need, I don't need to,
he has been
process a law or a motion.
I asked for evidence. I asked for evidence to that effect.
All right,
this is not a... We are deviating from the conversation. I mean, this is a talk show.
You have called for a ceasefire in the results of the investigation. And so we wait for the investigating agencies to conclude before anybody makes any statement. Yes. All right, let's talk about the handshake now. And the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force, Joint Secretary Paul Mwangi was here last night with Hussein Mohammed, and he stated that the team is collecting Kenyans' views on the long-lasting solutions to unite the country. This is what he had to say.
We must be able, if necessary, to come later and tell them, for instance, if it is our opinion that a particular direction they wanted to take is not workable, to be able to tell them that truthfully and courageously. Tell them, we are sorry, this is what you thought, but that I don't think is going to work.
Are you in such a position as far as the changing the constitution is concerned? Is it too early for you? Or?
We are not there yet. As we are listening to what people want. Okay. And what we have been saying is that whether that will require a change in the constitution or not will largely depend on what we think the solution will be. Because not every solution is going to require you to interfere with the law or with the constitution.
All right. Honorable Didmas, I'll start with you. What do you make of the handshake?
To me, a handshake is just a friendship between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. There is nothing more from the handshake. I mean,
friendship.
It's a friendship.
So
it's not a merger.
Is not meant to unite the country.
Just a friendship. It's a scenario where you were saying we've been rivals. And I mean, going forward, we are going to...
But really, are they
together.
rivals? I think Kenyans know that half of you politicians behind the scenes are friends. That handshake, was it truly meant for Uhuru and Raila, or was it for the sake of this nation, for the sake of the economy, for the sake of the 40+ million Kenyans?
I mean, the decision of putting this country together is not a decision of 2 or 3 individuals. It's a decision of each and every Kenyan that lives in this country. And confirming what I said earlier is that these 2 gentlemen, gallant Kenyans who are competitors in the last general elections, one came first, another one came second. So coming together and saying, going forward, we are going to work together, I mean, it's just, it's like they said, ceasefire from the political temperature that they were rising previously before.
So,
go ahead. Samson Cherargei said that the handshake is cosmetic, that the real handshake happened in 2013.
No, you know, from where I sit, I mean, ask yourself, 1 year down the line after the handshake, I mean, the government is one, the same that existed. Whatever the government is implementing is what contained in the budget policy statements. Okay. The decision-making process in terms of what to be done has not changed. Is the ministries deciding what they should do, the cabinet approving, and
hold that thought 1 minute. We have Adam from Wajir. Adam, good morning.
Yeah, mzuri, habari yako?
Salama sana. Uliza swali.
Nataka kuchangia mada ya habari ya handshake.
Endelea kabisa.
Nashangaa na mheshimiwa vile anaongea, anasema ati handshake haikusaidia. Kama hiyo si handshake, nchi leo ingekuwa namna gani? Na anasema handshake haikusaidia. Na handshake hapana iko kati ya Uhuru na Raila. Handshake ni kati ya Wakenya yote. Leo Kenya tunafurahia, iko amani, iko mzuri. Na nchi imebarikiwa na Mungu, lakini inaonekana kuna wanasiasa wachache wanataka kuleta mambo yao kwa fikra zao kwenda kukoroga ile handshake ambayo tumepata katika nchi hii.
Okay. Asante sana Adam.
On the handshake,
Maliba, what do you think?
Whereas the gesture was very important, it cooled off the temperatures, brought us together and allowed the economy to pick up because the wheels had ground to a halt. The programmatic end of the handshake is actually undefined. It remains amorphous. We do not know what they are all about, and it's also very hard to define what that handshake is. That's why it has not been defined, and that is why Mheshimiwa can actually call it whatever it is, and that name sticks. Somebody else elsewhere can actually give it a name. The two gentlemen really need to come out clear, probably go to Parliament, give it a bit of public participation, and as you always, I'll actually always say, bring in more women and youth. That thing is so much full of a few elite guys sitting up there, and they are also pretending to speak on our behalf. But on the political side, the handshake has denied our politicians a rallying force and platform, because we are used to them versus us kind of politics. That's why they are desperately, Mheshimiwa and his side are desperately trying to create the them versus scenario, the them versus us scenario, so that, you know, you rile the base, you go up and work so hard. But generally the handshake needs to be redefined. It needs to be made clear, it needs to work. We really do not know what it is. And that's why when a few guys show up and they say they are sitting somewhere secretly coming up with a new constitution, we believe. We are told they are being given money by security agency to do whatever they are doing. Did you guys approve their budget? What framework do they operate on? It can no longer continue. At the inception, it should have been allowed to move on because we really did not know how to get her. But then it needs a framework to operate on. We don't know what it is.
All right. Yeah. We have another call again. Eli from Nairobi. Eli, good morning. Salama sana. Endelea na swali.
Sasa nataka tu kumuuliza huyu mheshimiwa Baraza.
Okay.
Wakati unapoongea akisema eti ni urafiki.
Ongeza sauti kidogo, Eli. Eli?
Na hivi.
Yes.
Wakati mheshimiwa Baraza anasema eti handshake ni ya urafiki kati ya Raila na Uhuru. Hapo Kenya hii ama katika nchi nyingine tofauti?
Okay.
Okay, I think we seem to be having problems hearing.
Yes, but Eli is just insisting that when you say that the handshake is between two people and it's just a friendship, have you seen the impact it has had on the country? That's the direction he was taking. But do you believe it achieved any of its objectives?
But you see any grouping that Kenyans should believe in to bring development in terms of the spheres of government, it must have legal backing. I think I've just said that the handshake is just a friendship. These people were rivals. One was leading demonstrations, one was not recognizing the other, and they decided to say, yes, now we do a handshake, now I recognize you as president, and we are going to work together going forward. Okay. But I can only believe in something which is properly anchored in law, either through an executive order creating something, or maybe through Parliament ratifying some law to accommodate some groupings. But as we are speaking now, I mean, you can't tell me that, for example, that the Prime Minister will make a decision on what to do.
All right, because of time, Arnold, and very briefly,
yes.
My question, and it would be my last question, now that we do not know the nitty-gritties of the handshake, is the Building Bridge initiative necessary?
The BBI process is actually putting the cart before the horse. We need to define the horse, have the horse, and then bring in the cart. It's not necessary. Whatever they are putting up, we do not know. And I would actually want to ask Parliament to show leadership.
Okay.
To ask what this is about, and if they love it and support it, actually anchor it in law, and enable it to work with legitimacy.
Okay.
It lacks that.
Okay. Didmas, final statement?
The BBI is an illegal entity. They are waiting public resources at time, because I don't know who is funding them. I don't know where they're getting this money for. This money can be put into useful use to assist Kenyans. Okay. Because Kenyans themselves should drive on what they need to change. And there must be a legal mechanism created either by Parliament or a constitutional created officers in this country to drive the change if we really have to.
All right, Honorable Didmas Baraza, Kimilili MP, thank you for making time, and Arnold Maliba, policy analyst, thank you for coming in this morning. That does it for the newspaper review. When we come back from the break, we'll be crossing over to Waiga Mwaura, who is live at the toy market, where fire raised down business premises there worth millions of shillings. We'll hear from them firsthand what the experience is and the challenges that they're facing. But before that, we have tweets and texts.
Yes, which have been coming in fast. One Jackson on Twitter, you say, those defending the DP are cartels of the DP, so they have ganged up to prove that they are near thieves, rather, but day thieves. Let judiciary prove to Kenyans who they are. All
right, let's get the text on 224222. That's the number you can reach through to us. You can also tweet at Citizen TV Kenya, Trevor Mbija at Zinzi K. We have one coming through to our studio, one to show you on your screens just now. And Odanga says the DCI Kenya has raised red flag in the dam project. Shouldn't it concern MPs like Baraza to pause and ask questions or even start their own inquiry instead of attacking investigative agencies unless they are part of the persons of interest?
Okay, let's take a look at one SMS on 22422. This, okay, you don't say, morning Trevor and Zinzi, good morning to you too. Those people are not helping Kenyans in any way on fighting corruption. They do not want to call a spade a spade. Didmas is making more harm than good to our ears.
All right, and on that note, we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be live at the toy market with Waiga Mwaura. Stay with Daybreak.